Hello there. Helen and Jose Luis want you to be able to make the very most out of your Casa Tabobo holiday period. It might be that for you to have some information about what is available to you could influence what you bring or allow time for that will make a difference to your holiday. And that is the purpose of these audio videos on the Casa Tabobo site. Many people have said that a decision to bring such things as binoculars or walking shoes, walking boots, prompted by the video, did make a big difference to their holiday. So we hope the information in the coming few minutes will benefit you. Now, it surely comes as no surprise that when a country has the climate that Lanzarote enjoys, the outside areas, across the road, the sea down the road, the volcanoes next door and behind, the fields and the garden, all take on special holiday importance. They are yours to enjoy at any time of the day or evening without any concern for climate and weather, because that will be good. And between them, they offer special opportunities and different opportunities to enjoy holiday relaxation time. The gardens that surround Casa Tabobo, we say, have 5 facets, and we would like you to enjoy all 5 of them. The first of those facets are the views from the garden. It's very easy to relax, gazing for any length of time at the sea and the sky and their changing colours through hours, through the day, and of course, in particular, at sunset and sunrise. And then there are the activities along the shoreline of fishing, of boating, surfing, swimming, hang gliding, etc., that can all be seen going on from the high vantage point of Casa Tabobo. In the far distance, subject to the visibility on the day, Fuerteventura can be seen either as a blur in the haze or as sharp an outline as you could imagine. It is the neighbouring island in the Canary Islands that is next to Lanzarote and is a 15 to 20 minute ferry journey away. You'll see the ferry and the hydrofoil ploughing their way back and forwards, which are one of the holiday options that you have if you want to visit this nearby, but quite different island with an amazing Sahara desert-like sand dunes. And then, to the right and the left behind the Casa Tabobo property are the volcanoes, and occasionally you'll see people riding horses and walking on them. So you can look forward to being able to spend a considerable amount of time in the garden, if you wish, just relaxing in the sun or the shade, absorbing these views. Then, after you've followed our first suggestions and assisted your rapid journey into relaxation by finding different places or spots to take in the views, our next tip is that you should let your feet follow your eyes, by which we mean that you should climb off the sunbed and put on some walking shoes or boots and go out of the property, cross the road or up the road and into the park and the volcanoes and the fields that await you. You will find that there are 2 quite contrasting landscapes waiting. Between the volcanoes, Lanzarote is fundamentally flat and a low-level island. It's only the volcanoes that give it a skyline, and they emerge without rhyme or reason, quite randomly. They simply exploded out of the earth some millions of years ago, or in some cases a few thousand years ago, or in 1 or 2 cases just a couple of 100 years ago. And so they are all in different states of condition, and the younger they are, generally speaking, the bigger and better formed they are. And so, with your fitness levels kept in mind, you have the choice to walk with the volcanoes, between them, not necessarily up any hills or up the sides of any, or, and you have the option of walking the slopes and hilly areas, which can be quite challenging but very exhilarating. When you come back from following what your eyes have seen, how about following your nose? Because you will find all around you in the immediate facility of the garden that Helen and Jose have developed little spots or oases with benches or seats and sometimes a table. Most of the time, One of the things that will strike you when you sit yourself down in a shady spot under a tree or in a sunny spot with a view is the difference in the aroma, the smell. This is a garden that is watered and cared for every day, and in addition to creating sights, that creates aromas. Where the ground is shaded, those aromas are quite and deliciously different from the aromas where the ground is baked dry by the sun. When you find a spot that feels good, you should take a glass of wine or beer or coffee or tea or whatever and go and sit in that little sunspot or shade spot. And from there, we suggest you follow what is green, because inevitably from your spot you will find yourself following trees and the bushes and the flowers. Lanzarote is technically a desert, yet it does have some rain and a lot of dew. The rain tends to come very briefly, sometimes quite violently, but overall there is very little. If you follow what is green, you are usually, therefore, following the care and attention that Jose and Helen have given to the garden through continuous watering. Collecting and gathering water has become something of an art form on Lanzarote over the years and centuries. It is a subject all of its own. The garden actually contains an old well, and there is a story about that on the site. It's all quite fascinating. Wells began to exist in an era where people were desperate to capture every drop of water, because until the 1960s, there was no form of artificial creation of water on the island at all. All there was the small amount of rain, the dew, which is heavy, and of course all the seawater, which was useless for the purposes of cultivation. The old Canarians became hardy little folk simply in order to exist, who turned out eventually to be able to do miracles with the land that had been smothered in lava by the volcanoes and ruined for agricultural purposes. How they managed to grow vegetables and vines, and how they manage their water is a miracle in this entirely inhospitable and incredibly hot land. One method involved creating wells out of natural rock floors by directing water from above the ground down the slopes of volcanoes and guiding it into those natural rock holes. Jose and Helen have a well, and they still gather water this way, as every good Canarian has done down the centuries. The water is then meted out onto the plants and flowers, who are then in utopia, because they live in an all-round sunshine and heat climate, and they have all of the water that they want. And so this is a garden that produces wonderful fruit, wonderful flowers, wonderful trees and bushes, most of which are quite exotic. It does, though, depend on luck as to when you are there, as regards what it is that's growing, but almost always there is some exotic fruit waiting to be tried by you, and some plants giving joy, visually or through aromas. So we recommend that you follow the green until you come across the eccentricities. Then follow your curiosity, because all around you there's a museum of the history of the life of the islanders that has almost but gone. There are not many people who have an old, huge canning machine from the island's sardine factory in their garden. That comes from a factory that not so long ago was here on the island, receiving the sardines from the local fishermen and canning them. When that factory was torn down to be replaced by modern buildings, Helen and Jose saved some machinery from the scrap dump, and that's on display in their garden. All around you, you will see other items, watering cans, but these aren't just watering cans. They are watering cans from a bygone age, tools from a bygone age, slabs of stone and other minerals that have come from something or somewhere that has been torn down to make place for the modern demands of tourism. Their garden is a place to be curious, and of course Helen and Jose are on hand to supply the answers to questions. Many of these items relate to the sea and fishermen that have all but disappeared since the 1960s, when the island was open to tourism. So, we really hope that you will leave your holiday having participated in the Lanzarote volcanoes and, to some degree, the wonders of Casa Tabobo's surrounding gardens. Good day to you.